In 1960, the eminent professor of zoology, Dr. George Edward Challenger, returned to London to report a fantastic story. While his team explored the headwaters of the Amazon River basin, he discovered a lost plateau high above and isolated from the surrounding jungle. Before his expedition was forced to return to civilization, Challenger made a fantastic discovery. The plateau contained creatures that the local Indian tribes called Kuripuri. To Western science, these creatures are known as dinosaurs. It appears that Professor Challenger may have truly discovered a lost world.
Good evening, and welcome to the Solo Gamers Club. Tonight, we'll be playing Dinosaurs of the Lost World by Avalon-Hill. We begin the setup by selecting an expedition figure and a pawn of the same color. I've chosen red, my favorite color. We'll place the expedition figure on the start square on the movement track, and our pawn is placed on the camp hex of the Lost World map. We place our creature figures on the conspicuous landmarks. We place the Indians at the Indian caves, the Elasmosaurus at the central lake, the Dimetrodon at the marsh, and the Ankylosaurus at the rocky tract. Now we'll shuffle the tools markers and place them face down in the tools space on the game board. Now we'll thoroughly mix the 30 unexplored site tiles, and we'll place them on the board in their designated spots. Now we'll separate the event deck and the experience card decks and give each of those a shuffle. And now it's time to outfit the expedition. We're able to select a total of 8 tools from the tool list. I'll bring the tool list up on the screen. The tool list shows us how those tools are used and the benefits that can be acquired from having those. As an example, the binoculars have at the rocky tract will give 2 experience cards while taking that adventure. And then also it has in one frame of the Central Lake adventure, it would give a bonus. Our only limitation on the tool selection is we cannot have more than 2 of the same tools to start the game. I've created this sheet to log my tool inventory and weapons and allies inventory, along with a victory point chart, an adventures completed chart, and a turn track. In the solo game, the players have 40 turns to acquire 25 victory points and be able to find an escape item and escape the plateau before the volcano explodes. I decided to go a step further, and I've created these cards that will represent all of the tools and weapons that are available in the game. You'll notice that the rifles have these red chips on them, and that represents the ammo that the rifles come with. Each rifle has 5 ammo, and as we use them, we'll just remove one of the chips. Okay, we begin the game at the base camp. While in camp, there's some special rules that are in place. First and foremost is, while at the camp, we don't have to worry about getting attacked by any wandering monsters on the board. Another rule that while we're in camp is when we're moving our expedition marker on the movement track, we don't follow any of the special conditions on those spaces, like find a tool, event, or climb a tree. While we're in camp, we would just be using the movement points that are allowed to us. The exception to that is the move a creature space. With the move a creature space, that active creature will move directly towards us. Normally, it uses a random direction and a random amount of movement. But in the case of a move a creature space, that creature would move directly towards our location. And we're ready to begin. Each turn, we're going to roll 2d6, and we're going to move our expedition marker that many spaces along the movement track. As a part of the solo rules, that die result will also have us consult the creature chart. And we would use that dice roll and find out which creature is the active creature for the turn. And that creature will make 2 die rolls, one for direction and one for distance. And we'll move that creature that many spaces. So we'll make a 2d6 roll, and the result is a 6. So we're going to move our expedition pawn 6 spaces in the direction it's pointing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's a move a creature space, and we have a 1-point movement allowance for the turn. Normally, when we are in base camp, we don't follow the instructions on a space, but the exception is that move a creature space. So what we will do is we're going to use that die roll and consult the creature chart. It's a 6. It says Triceratops. It has a strength of 5 and a speed value of B. Now the Triceratops is currently not on the board, so that is going to appear at the watering place. And then that creature, since this is a move a creature space, it's going to move directly towards us. So it would roll a d6 for its movement allowance, in this case 1. So it'll move directly towards us, and even if it rolled more than 1, it would not be able to enter the camp space. It'll just move as close as it can. And now we're able to use the number of movement points that are indicated on the space to move our pawn on the map. We want to try to reach these either unexplored locations or these conspicuous locations, like the pinnacle as an example. So we're going to move 1 space, and we'll move from the camp to the pinnacle. And that's going to end our turn. We'll scratch off 1 of our turns, and it'll be the completion of turn 1. Okay, before we begin our next turn, I'm going to point out one of the nuances on the movement track. Each of the corner spaces on the map has these arrows that are listed on them. One is a turnaround, and one moves you on to the next part of the track. You'll see a number here, 6 in this case. That tells us that we cannot proceed past this space until we have at least 6 victory points. So in the case of in our situation, say if we rolled a 6, we would move 1, 2, 3. We cannot go past that. We don't have victory points yet. We reverse our course 4, 5, 6, and then we have our token headed the other way. So that's how that movement will work throughout the game. Okay, we'll move on to turn 2. We're going to make our 2d6 roll. We rolled a 6. Okay, so we are going to move our pawn 6 spaces. 1, 2, 3, and we'll have to reverse our course. 4, 5, 6. We return back to a move a creature space. So we're going to consult our creature chart with a 6. That's the Triceratops again. He's on the map. He is going to move directly towards us. A d6 movement value, and that roll is a 4. So he's definitely going to reach our space. 1, 2. And we're going to have to combat that creature. And now we're going to resolve our battle. Every creature has a strength value and a speed value. In this case, the Triceratops has a value of 5. His strength will be equal to his strength plus a d6 roll. We always make the creature rolls first, and then our expedition can respond to that using either gas bombs or rifles. So in this case, we'll make our creature roll. He has a 5 plus a 1 is 6. So that's his total strength. Our strength is equal to the roll of 1 die plus a die for each rifle that we wish to employ. We can also use a gas bomb that will immediately and instantly win the battle for us. and that Triceratops, or whatever creature it is that we're combating, would be removed from the board. It can return at a different time. So it's important to always do the creature strength first so that we know how to respond. Obviously, one dice that we get as a default would not be sufficient to combat this Triceratops. So we have to choose to either use a gas bomb or implement one or two of our rifles. And I'm going to choose to use one of our rifles. So we're going to expend 1 point of ammunition, and then we're going to be able to roll 2 dice, and we'll compare that to the total of the creature. Here's our roll. Unfortunately, we rolled a 5, so that means the creature has beaten us a total of 6-5, and now we have to run for our lives, and that's where this chase track will come into effect. Chases are never good for the party. You'll notice that on the creature's token, there's a letter designation, either A, B, or C, and that refers to its speed. Our party starts at the expedition start space, and then the creature that's battling us starts at whatever letter designation it is, in this case B, so it's a couple steps behind us. The creature will never move past us on the track. If it reaches our space, we have to discard 1 tool, and that's the penalty. It's as though you're throwing stuff off to increase your mobility to get away from the thing. And we begin the chase by us rolling a d6 and moving that many spaces along the track. Okay, we rolled a 3, so we'll move 1, 2, and 3. Now the creature will respond. It rolled a 2, so it'll move 2 spaces. And then we just keep doing that until we either have a special space that tells us that the encounter ends, or we reach end and return to camp, losing the next turn. Okay, so now it is our turn. We rolled a 3. 1, 2, 3. Now the creature will respond. Rolled a 1. Now the creatures never obey any special text on this track, only the expedition. So this downhill move ahead 1 space does not apply to the creature. Okay, so we'll roll again for us. It's a 1. And now the creature will respond. We rolled a 2. Okay, we're up next. We rolled a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, and the Triceratops rolls a 2. And then we roll. We rolled a 2. It says rough terrain, move back a space. And now the Triceratops will roll. He rolled a 3. 1, 2, 3. That's our turn. We rolled a 2. Okay. The Triceratops, he rolls a 2. And now back to us. We rolled a 2. 1, 2. And the Triceratops, a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and here's our roll now. And we rolled a 5. So we've gotten to the end. It says return to camp and lose the next turn. All right, so we're going to place our token back at the camp, and we're going to flip that on its side so that we know that we're going to lose our next turn. And that's how a chase happens. Now, if the creature that was chasing us, if their landmark is not on the board, the creature is removed from the board and can be returned later in the game. Okay, so that is going to complete turn 2, and then we're also going to have to lose another turn as we stand up again. That will complete turn 3, and we'll move on to turn 4 now. Okay, we're back at the camp, so we're protected against creatures, and we will not be following any of the instructions on the squares other than the move a creature. So we're going to make our 2d6 roll. And we'll move 8 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's a move a creature space with 1 movement point. Okay, consulting our creature chart, we have an 8. That is the Apatosaurus. strength of 6, speed of C. The Apatosaurus's primary location is not yet on the board, so it is going to begin at the watering hole, and then it is going to move directly towards us because we will move on a move a creature space. So we'll roll a die to see how many movement points it has. It has 2, but it cannot enter the space because we're in our protected base camp, so it's going to move as close as it can and then end its turn. Now we have 1 movement point available, and I think we're going to try to get to away from some of these creatures. So I'm going to move, I think, towards the pinnacle, and that'll complete our turn. We'll scratch off 1 more turn off of our turn chart. It's now turn 5. We'll make our 2d6 roll. We rolled a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Unfortunately, it's another move a creature spot. You'll notice one thing on the map and on the board. This first stretch, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 move a creature squares, and then on the second leg we've got 1, 2, 3, and then only 2 on the third, and then the last leg there's only 1. So it gets progressively easier for the expedition as we can cross into these next sections of the movement track. The hardest part is this, what I call Dinosaur Alley, where we've got 4 of our squares are move creatures, and those are going to be coming directly at us. So we need to get victory points as soon as possible, particularly in the Solitaire version. Okay, we'll continue on, and here's our roll. We rolled a 5. So we'll move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's an event. All right. We'll check our creature table, and that is the Elasmosaurus. The Elasmosaurus is in the Central Lake area. Now that's limited to only being able to move into the Central Lake or any coastal area. It can also move into, I believe, the watering place and the marsh. So those are its limits. I just checked the rules. Yeah, the Elasmosaurus is restricted to the Central Lake hex and the 6 adjacent shoreline hexes and the marsh, which is here. So it cannot go into the watering hole, but to the marsh. All right, so now the Elasmosaurus is activated. We're going to roll on a die now for a random direction it's going to move. Direction 2, so that'll be moving east, and now we're going to move for its movement value. Roll for its movement value. 2 spaces, 1 and 2. It can enter into the marsh, which is one of its legal places it can move. So that Elasmosaurus is in the marsh. So we're no longer on the camp, so we follow the instructions on the space, and it says event. So we're going to draw an event card. These can be good and bad. And that card is revealed to be card number 18. A giant poisonous moth attacks you. You drive it away if you have a pull. Otherwise, you return to camp and lose a turn. Play immediately. Well, unfortunately, we do not have the pull. So we are going to have to return to camp and lose a turn. That's terrible. So that is going to complete turn 5, and then for us to stand up again, it'll be another turn, and we'll be starting turn 7 now. We have 40 turns to get 25 victory points and an escape item. Okay, here's our die roll. We rolled a 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we're allowed to draw an experience card. But as we are on the camp, we don't follow that instruction on the space, only the movement points. Okay, 7 is on the creature chart is the Tyrannosaurus. The Tyrannosaurus is the most powerful creature, and that's going to appear at the watering place, and then he is going to make a random roll. Okay, we start by rolling for its random direction. It's a 4. So that's going to be heading to the southwest. And then his movement distance is a 4. So he's going to move 1, 2. He can't continue. He'd fall off the edge. So the rule is that he bears to the right to complete his movement. So he can't move there, so 3 and 4. Now we have 3 movement points available, and we're going to try to use those to get away from some of these monsters, I think. So we're going to move 1, 2, 3 to that unexplored site. Now that's kind of dangerous because it's next to the watering place, and that's where many of the monsters will appear. But we'll take a look and see what we found in that unexplored site. And unfortunately, there's nothing there. Okay, so there's we turn our pawn to that location, and that's going to end our turn. All right, we'll start our next turn. Here's our die roll. We rolled a 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's an event. Okay, 7 is the Tyrannosaurus. He's on the board, so we're going to have him roll for his direction. Direction is 3. It's going to be this way. And his distance is going to be 2. So he can't move there, so he has to keep bearing to the right, 1 and 2. And that's where he'll end up. All right, we're no longer in the camp, so we obey the instructions on the board. It says event. We're going to draw an event card. And that is revealed to be card number 21. You may collect vines at the carnivorous plant patch to make into a rope bridge, which you may use to escape the plateau by ending the pinnacle adventure in the final frame once you've scored 25 victory points. Play at your option, but only when ending your turn in the carnivorous plant patch. If without a machete, the hazard penalty still applies. Keep this card as an escape item. All right. And now the space says that we have 2 movement points. So we're going to move, I'm going to try to get away from this monster alley space area. So we're going to move 1 and 2, and we'll see what we find in that hex. And that is revealed to be a Triceratops hatchery. We gain a victory point for that. All right. And now that is an adventure location. It has a red star in there, N. And also, since it has a listing of Triceratops hatchery, the Triceratops appears there. Now, it does not attack us at this point, but it appears there. Okay, now that we're at a adventure site, we have the option of either rolling the die as normal, or we can take that adventure, the Triceratops hatchery adventure, and I think that's what we're going to do. Okay, an adventure works this way. We are on location N, the Triceratops hatchery. We take our pawn from the board and place that at the top of the display. Before we begin the adventure, we check the upper right-hand corner and see if we have any of these items in our equipment list, and if so, we're able to draw experience cards as indicated. In this case, the shovel would get us 1, which we have a shovel. So that'll get us 1 experience card. We do not have the specimen cage, unfortunately, so we don't gain any for that, but we do get 1 experience card for the shovel. Experience cards are very valuable in that they can be used in lieu of rolling a die. In this case, our experience card is a 3. So we'd be able to move 3 frames on this display. It says move 3 squares, spaces, or frames instead of making a die roll, or discard for another experience card. So what we would do then is we have to kind of calculate what our options are. Now, if we were to play this card, we could move 3 frames automatically. So we would move 1, 2, 3. It says danger from the sky, lose 1 round of ammo. So that wouldn't be the best for us. So I think we're going to use the bottom part of the card. It says discard for another experience card. So we'll discard that card and draw another one. Let's see what we get. That one's a 4. It says move 4 squares, spaces, or frames instead of making a dice roll or die roll, or discard for another experience card. So this would get us up to frame 4. and it says, look, Triceratops tracks, draw an experience card. So I think we'll do that. We'll move the 1, 2, 3 to the 4th frame, spending the card, and then the result of that is it allows us to draw another experience card. And that one is revealed to be a 5. We can move 5 spaces or re-roll once any dice or die roll. Okay, so the first thing we do is we'll look at our potential if we were to play this card. Frame 4 plus 5 would be frame 9. It says here, battle Triceratops. Don't look now, but. So we don't want to do that. So I think what we will do is we're going to make a die roll then. And then that will be our random element, and we'll move along our frames accordingly. Okay, we rolled a 2, so 4 plus 2 is equal to frame 6. And that says, something is sparkling in the distance. Draw an event card. So as you can see, the getting experience cards is very important, because if you don't have those, you really can't calculate where you're going to end up on the adventure. You're at the whim of the dice roll. So in this case, something sparkles in the distance. We have to draw an event card, and that one is revealed to be, it's a red card, number 19. You have blundered into the sacred burial grounds of the Indians. They immediately attack you, even if you are already allied with them. Regardless of the outcome, you can never be allied with the Indians again. Lose any Indian ally's weapon that you currently possess. Play immediately. Okay, so we move the Indians token from the map to that space. Now you'll notice that the Indians have a variable value for their strength, a 3 and a 5. The 5 only happens when they're at their own location at the Indian caves. When they're outside of the Indian caves, they use 3. So we'll find out what the strength of the Indians are. It'll be 3 plus a die roll. Okay, here is the roll. They rolled a 2, so their total is 5. So I think we can probably get by using just one of our rifles. I'm trying to preserve our ammunition. So we're going to be able to roll our standard dice and then one die for the rifle. We're going to consume one more ammunition, and here's our roll. We rolled an 8. So we've defeated the Indians 8 to 5. The Indians token goes back to their space on the board at Indian Caves, and we can continue on with our adventure. Now, unfortunately, we can never have the Indians as allies, which is not good. And now we continue on with the adventure. We have a choice of either using our experience card or making a die roll. We're on frame 6, so if we were to play this, that would put us to frame 11. It says film Triceratops behavior. If we have a camera, the camera indication there, and we'd score a victory point. So I think we'll do that. I'm going to play the experience card, and we're going to move 5 frames. That'll bring us up to frame 11, and we're going to film Triceratops behavior with our camera, and that's going to gain us another victory point. So we've got 2 victory points now. Now, unfortunately, we don't have any more experience cards, so we have to make dice rolls, and we're kind of at the whim of the dice. Okay, here's our next roll. Rolled a 1. So we're going to move on to frame 12. It says hatchlings, draw an experience card. Well, that's great. Okay, that experience card is a 1 or discard for another experience card. Okay, our next section would be, if we did play this, would be Mother is Returning, Battle Triceratops. Well, we don't want to do that. So I think we're going to discard this, as it says, and we're going to draw another experience card. That one's a 4. So that would get us up to frame 16 if we played that. That would be Chased from the Nest, Battle Triceratops. We don't want that. So we're going to make a dice roll and see if we can get a better frame. We rolled a 1. Okay, so that is Mother is Returning, Battle Triceratops. So the Triceratops comes off the board into that space, and we're going to have to battle that thing. Okay, this Triceratops has a strength of 5, and then it's going to get a die roll. A 6, so that's a total of 11. We're going to have to use both rifles, I think, in this case, so that will allow us to roll 3 dice, and hopefully we can get a score better than 11 total. Okay, here's our roll. And yeah, we easily did. We scored a 16. So we've beaten the Triceratops 16 to 11. That'll go off the board. We've consumed 2 more ammo though. So now we have 1 rifle with 2 rounds of ammo left and another rifle with 4 rounds. And we'll continue on with the adventure. Okay, our choices now are either to roll a die or to use this card. It has a 4 that would put us to 17, so we would be another battle of Triceratops. So I think what we're going to do is make a roll. We do have a re-roll ability with that card. We'll make a roll and see what happens. We rolled a 1, so that gets us up to frame 14. That says capture a hatchling, score 5 victory points, and complete the adventure. Well, that's the best we could do, so that's great. We're going to score 5 victory points. That brings us up to a total of 7. And that completes the Triceratops hatchery adventure. So we can never redo those. We can only do those adventures 1 time in the game. The exception is the adventures that are listed on the board. The Pinnacle, the Indian Caves, as examples. So we're going to move our pawn back to the Triceratops hatchery space on the map. Okay, so we've completed that adventure. We're back on that space. Now, part of the rules of completing an adventure is we have to discard all of our experience cards. But if we're able to complete the adventure, we can draw 1 new experience card and keep that in our hand. And that one is revealed to be a 1, or your expedition may move an extra hex on the Lost World Plateau. Okay. And that entire adventure took 1 turn. So now that completed turn 9, we're going to move on to turn 10. Now that we have 7 victory points, we're able to cross this space and get out of this dinosaur alley and get into another part of the track, which is really important in the solitaire game. So we're going to roll our 2d6 and move our expedition. Rolled a 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. That's a find a tool with 2 movement points. Find a tool is we're able to draw the top tool card from the stack. And that's revealed to be a fish tank. Okay, that's great. We'll add that to our list of equipment. And now we have 2 movement points with which we can use to move around on the map. And I think I'm going to try to get away from that Triceratops, and we're going to move 1 and 2. We'll move here and see what we find in that location. Okay, we found a Forashakos nest. That's adventure H, and we're going to gain a victory point for finding that. So that brings us up to a total of 8 victory points. And that will end the turn. That is turn 10 is complete. And we are 1/4 the way of the game's total of 40 turns. All right, I'm going to bring up the tool list and the useful tools tables on the screen, and we'll check out what that adventure H has to say. It says here that we would gain experience cards for the machete, the egg crate. We don't have a machete, and we do have the egg crate, so that would get us 1 experience card. And then the net and lariat would be involved in some of the frames of that adventure. We don't have a net, and we do not have the lariat. So we would be gaining the 1 experience card. I think we're going to do that. We're going to, instead of rolling and moving, we're going to take the Forashakos nest adventure. All right, we already had 1 experience card in our hand from previously, and then we're going to check at the top of the upper right corner of the adventure and see if we can gain any additional experience cards, and we can. We have the egg crate, which we have in our inventory. Is that correct? Yes, it is. So we're going to gain another experience card to start this. That's a 3. All right, it can also be used to add 3 to any chase or battle die roll. All right, so we're going to get started with our Forashakos nest adventure. Okay, so we'll start by rolling a d6. Or we can play any of these cards. 1 would be lose a tool in your haste to get away, run from strange noises. 3 would be catch a young Hycephalodon, score 2 victory points. Well, we're going to do that. We'll play our 3-point experience card, moving us 3 frames, and we're going to score 2 victory points. That's great. That brings our victory point total up to 10. And now we have the option of either rolling or playing our other experience card that would get us to frame 4, drive away a hunting pterodactyl, lose a round of ammo, or exit the adventure. So we don't want that. We'll make a roll. We rolled a 5, so that brings us up to frame 8. 3 and 5 is 8. It says, what is that glinting in the sun? Find a tool. Okay, so we're able to draw the top tile from the tool stack, and that's revealed to be an egg crate. Well, we've already had one of those, but we're able to have extra ones in case we lose them. So we'll add that to our inventory. And now our options are to play our event card, which would get us up to frame 9. What's that noise? Draw an event card. Or we can roll. Well, I think we're going to roll. Here's our roll. We rolled a 3. That brings us up to frame 11. Spot a hydrocorthium. Score a victory point. Okay, that's great. That brings us up to a victory point total of 11. Okay. Now our options are to play our experience card. That'll be move us up 1 frame. Furashakos defends her nest. Battle it. We don't want to do that necessarily. I think we'll make a die roll. Okay, here's our roll. We rolled a 3. That brings us up to frame 14. And it says here, don't see any nest around here. Complete the adventure. All right, well, we were able to at least get a victory point out of that adventure. We'll mark that as a completed adventure. And we'll also mark off 1 turn. That'll be turn 11 is complete. All right, we're going to return to the map then. Before we do that, we have to discard all of our experience cards, and we can draw 1 new one since we've completed the adventure, and that's a 1, or add 1 to any chase or battle die roll. Okay. Okay, we'll start turn 12, and we'll make our roll. Okay, we rolled a 9. Now we have our total victory points is 11, so we don't have enough to cross this yet, so we'll have to bounce back. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's an event with 1 movement point. Now, number 9 is the Stegosaurus will appear on the board. It has a strength of 4 and a speed of C. All right, so we'll bring that Stegosaurus out. That is going to start at the watering place because its primary location has not yet been revealed. And then we're going to make random rolls to move that steg. First is direction. It's going to move direction 1, which will be towards the central lake, and the distance it's going to go will be 5. So it's going to try to move that way. It can't, so it'll move 1, and then finally it can get to a space where it can move that direction. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. And now we have an event that we must draw. And that event is revealed to be number 23. You find a discarded plesiosaur membrane at the Indian caves with which you can make a balloon to escape the plateau by ending the geyser adventure in the final frame if you have 25 victory points. Play at your option, but only when ending your turn in the Indian caves. Keep this card as an escape item. Okay, that's great. So now we have the potential of 2 different escape items if we can get to those locations. Now we have 1 movement point on that event space, and I think I'm going to move to this unexplored site here, and we'll see what we find there. That's revealed to be Ape Town. Okay, we're going to gain a victory point for that. That brings us up to a total of 12 victory points, and that will allow us to cross that corner box when the time comes. All right, the apes are going to appear at that location. We'll get those out. And those will appear there. And that will end the turn. That completes turn 12. We'll move on to turn 13. And now we'll take a look at Ape Town and see what useful tools are involved with that. Food stores would generate 2 experience cards, and the Lariat would give us 1 extra one as well. Now we do have food stores, that's food and flashlight, so we have that. That would get us 2 experience cards. So I think we're going to take that adventure rather than make a roll on the track. So we're going to get out Adventure B, Ape Town. All right, we've already got 1 experience card from before, and the food stores, which we have, allows us 2 additional draws of experience cards. That gives us a 4. We can also escape from a chase, return to camp but do not lose a turn, and another 4, add 4 to a chase or battle die roll. Okay, so we'll begin our Ape Town adventure. Our choices are to use our experience cards, either 1, which we don't want to use, that would be exit adventure. 4 would be a good one, spot a Mylodon, score a victory point. So I think we'll do that. We're going to play one of our 4-point experience cards, and I'll play this one, and then that will move us to frame 4, spot a Mylodon, score a victory point. That brings us up to a total of 13 victory points. That's great. And our next turn we can either roll or use our experience cards, 1 or 4. 1 would bring us to frame 5, draw an event. 4 would bring us up to frame 8, frightening noises scare you away, move backwards during your next turn. I think we'll make a roll at this case. Okay, here's our die roll. We rolled a 6. That brings us up to frame 10. The apes have carried off a tool from some other expedition. Draw a tool. Okay, great. And that tool is revealed to be gifts. Okay, we'll add that to our inventory, and then we can continue on. Our options are 1 frame for that card would be film apeman behavior, score victory point. 4 would move us up to 14. A cast out ape joins you, score 5 victory points and complete the adventure. Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to play our 4-point experience card, moving us up to frame 14, scoring 5 victory points and completing the adventure. That is great. And that completes the adventure, so we're going to get rid of all of our experience cards, and then we're able to draw a new one. That one's revealed to be a 2 and can add 2 to a battle or chase die roll, and we'll move back to the map. That completes turn 13. We'll be moving on to turn 14. Okay, we'll make our die roll. We rolled a 7. So that'll move us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's an event, but no movement points on the map. The 7 is the Tyrannosaurus. That is already on the map, and that will move randomly now. His direction will be direction 1. That's going to be coming straight towards us, and his distance is a 3. 1, 2, and 3. So he is going to attack us at Ape Town. And I think what we're going to do in this case is I'm going to use my gas bomb. That will automatically win the battle. The Tyrannosaurus will be removed from the map, and then we're able to continue on with our adventure. And we have to draw an event card, and that one is revealed to be, it's a red one, number 33. A pterodactyl swoops down on your party and makes off with a valuable specimen case. Roll 1 die and lose that many victory points down to a minimum of 0. Play immediately. Oh, that's not good. Okay, we are going to roll a die and we are going to lose 5 victory points. That brings us down from 18 down to 13. Not good. And as we have no movement points, that will end the turn. That completes turn 15, and we'll move on with turn 16. Okay, we've been reduced to 13 victory points. That's still enough to at least turn the corner. So we're going to make our roll and see where we end up. Okay, we rolled a 5. So we're going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's an event with 1 movement point. A 5 is the Elasmosaurus. Okay, he's currently at the marsh. So we'll move him make a roll for direction and distance. Okay, he rolls direction 2. He can't move any farther that way, so he's going to keep bending till he can move to the right a certain distance. Distance of 3. So he can only move back 1, 2, 3. He's at the watering place. Okay, now we have an event draw, and that one is revealed to be another red one. Number 34, your guide has deserted you. You may not play an experience card on the movement track for the remainder of the game. Play immediately. All right, that's not good because a lot of times these experience cards can be used on the movement track as well. So we're not able to do that anymore. Okay, we do have one movement point that we can use to move on the map. And I think I'm going to risk it. It's going to be next to the Triceratops, but we're going to move into this unexplored site. It's revealed to be a rope. Okay, so we've gained a rope. Now that's an escape item. That can be used to build a rope bridge at the Pinnacle adventure. So that's great. That completes turn 16. We'll move on to turn 17. Here's our roll. We rolled a 3. 1, 2, 3. Get to draw an experience card, and we have 3 movement points. Our experience card is a 3 spaces, squares, or frames, or your expedition may move 3 extra hexes on the Lost World Plateau. Okay, that's good. So now we will move, we have to do our creature chart. 3 is the Dimetrodon. The Dimetrodon is on the board. He's in the marsh. We'll roll for his direction. 4, okay, that is going to be to the southwest, and his distance is 5. 1, 2, 3, he can't move any farther. 4, 5, he bends to the right. Okay, the Dimetrodon is moved. Now we have 3 movement points on the map, and I'm going to move 1, 2, 3 to that location, and we'll see what we've got there. That is a Tyrannosaurus lair. We get a victory point for that. The Tyrannosaurus will appear in that location, and that will move us up to a total of 14 victory points, and then that would allow us to take the Tyrannosaurus lair adventure if we choose to. Now we already have 2 experience cards, a 2 and a 3, and the Tyrannosaurus lair adventure, we gain 1 for a shovel, 1 for an egg crate, and the machete would appear in one of the frames of that adventure. Now we do have a shovel, and we do have, well, we have 2 egg crates. You can only get credit for 1 of them though. So that would allow us to gain an additional 2 experience cards if we take that adventure. So we're definitely going to do that. We're going to take the Tyrannosaurus lair adventure. We begin the adventure with 2 experience cards, a 2 and a 3, and then the shovel and egg crate will allow us 1 draw each. So that'll get us an extra 1 for the shovel. That's another 3 and a 6. And it also allows us to reclaim an item we just lost for any reason. Okay, so we're going to undertake our Tyrannosaurus lair adventure. Our options with experience cards are a 2, 3, and a 6. Frame 2 is play an experience card in the next move. Frame 3 is something is headed this way, nothing happens. Frame 6 is tough going, move backwards without a machete. So I think what we'll do is we'll play a 3, and that will allow us to move to frame 3. Something is headed this way, nothing happens. And then we can take on our next turn. So we would have a 2, a 3, and a 6. A 2 would move us up to frame 5, battle Tyrannosaurus, we don't want that. 3 would bring us to frame 6, which is tough going, move backwards without the machete. And 6 would move us up to frame 9. Discover egg mounds, score a victory point. I think we'll do that. We'll play the 6 experience point card, moving us up to frame 9. Discovering egg mounds gains us a victory point. That moves us up to a total of 15 victory points. And now we can continue on. Our top frame here is frame 15, which scores us 8 victory points in completing the adventure. And let's see what we have left here. We have a 2 and a 3. A 2 would get us to 11. Nothing happens. A 3 would get us up to she's returning. Play an experience card. All right. Well, I'm going to think about this. I think in this case we're going to roll. Okay, we'll take a roll. It's a 4. That moves us up to frame 13. Film Tyrannosaurus behavior if you have the camera, which we do. Score a victory point. Okay, that's great. That brings us up to a total of 16 victory points. Now we can move on with a die roll or using our experience cards. And obviously we're going to play our 2-point experience card, moving us up 2 frames from 13 to 15. Collect eggs, score 8 victory points, and complete the adventure. Outstanding. And that brings us up to 24 victory points. That completes the Tyrannosaurus lair adventure and turn 17. We'll discard all of our experience cards, and then we get to draw 1 for completing the adventure. That's a 1 with reclaim an item you just lost for any reason. So we're very close to being able to get our total amount of victory points that we need and exit the plateau if we can find an escape item. All right, so we're going to continue on. I'm going to make my way towards the Indian caves because we have this event card that we drew that says you find a discarded plesiosaur membrane at the Indian caves with which you can make a balloon to escape the plateau by ending the geyser adventure in the final frame. If you have 25 victory points, play at your option, but only when ending your turn in the Indian caves. So we're going to make our way there, and then we can convert this into an escape item if we can find the geyser adventure. Okay, we'll make our roll. We rolled an 8. Okay, so no, we have plenty of movement victory points, so we can cross that path. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ooh, it's a move a creature. Okay, 8 is the Apatosaurus. He is on the board. He's going to move directly towards us, and he rolls just for movement now. And he rolls 6 movement points. Now, unfortunately, the Apatosaurus is one of 3 creatures that can enter the central lake. The Apatosaurus, the Indians, and the pterodactyl, as well as the Elasmosaurus. So he's so big he can move right through the lake, and he's going to move directly towards us 6 movement points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And he reaches us at the Tyrannosaurus lair. So we're going to be attacked by the Apatosaurus. We'll roll for his strength. And he's a 6 plus a roll of 1 is 7. Well, I think to be on the safe side, I'm going to use both rifles. So that'll allow us to roll 3 dice. We'll expend 2 pieces of ammo, but we got a good chance on beating him. Here's the roll. And we rolled a total of 11, so we've beaten him 11 to 7. The Apatosaurus is removed from play, and we're able to continue on with our adventure. We have 1 movement point that we can use on the map. And I think I'll make my way towards, eventually we're going to go to that direction. I'll move to this unexplored site and see if we can pick up anything useful. That's the bamboo break. We lose a turn there, and that stays on the board. That's a permanent block to movement. So we're going to lose another turn because of the bamboo break. And that completes turn 18, and then we lose a turn for the bamboo break. That's 19. We'll be starting turn 20. That's our halfway point. And we'll make our roll. We roll a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We draw an experience card. Okay, that card is revealed to be a 6. Okay, 6 squares, spaces, or frames instead of making a dice or die roll or discard for another card. Okay, we'll keep that for now. We have 3 movement points available, so we'll be able to move 3 points on the map. But first, we have a 6 that we have to resolve on our creature chart. That's the Triceratops. The Triceratops is on the map. So we're going to roll for him for direction. First of all, his direction is 4, so that's going to be fortunately for us, he's headed that way at a distance of 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, and he moves to the right 5. Okay. And now we have 3 movement points we can use on the map. And I think we'll kind of head in that direction towards the Indian caves, and we'll move 1, 2, 3 and check this unexplored site. That's the Apatosaurus Swamp. We get a victory point for that. That gets us our 25th victory point. So we've got all the victory points we need. Yes! And then the Apatosaurus will appear in that location. All right. And that ends the turn. That completes turn 20. And we'll move on to turn 21. Now, we really don't need any additional victory points. We have enough to win the game if we can escape. So I'm not going to undertake that Apatosaurus Swamp adventure. We would get another experience card for the egg crate, along with the other 2 that we already have, but I want to try to find our escape items and see if we can win the game. Okay, so we're going to make our roll. We rolled a 9. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. That's an experience card with 5 movement points. We'll draw an experience card. That one is a 2. Or escape from chase, return to camp, but do not lose a turn. Okay, so we'll add that to our total. Now we have 5 movement points we can use on the map. Okay, first we have to consult our creature chart. That was a 9, the Stegosaurus, strength of 4, speed C. Stegosaurus is on the map, so he's going to roll for direction and for movement. Okay, his direction is direction 4. That's going to be to the southeast, or southwest rather, and the distance will be 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now we have a total of 5 movement points we can use on the map, and I'm going to head towards the Indian caves. And we'll move those 5 movement points, use those to get to the Indian caves. 1, 2, 3. We enter the Indian caves. We don't spark an attack because we're moving into their space. And that will complete the turn. And we're going to undertake that Indian caves adventure. That's going to allow us, we have gifts, so that will give us 3 experience cards, and a flashlight gives us a 4th. Now there is a limit. We can only hold a total of 5 experience cards at a time. I've decided against taking the Indian Caves adventure at this time. What I did want to do is, by moving to the Indian Caves, we can play this event card. It says here that play at your option, but only when ending your turn in the Indian Caves. Well, that's where we collect the discarded plesiosaur membrane, and we can use that as an escape item to make a balloon, and use that if we can find the geyser adventure. So that's what our next mission is going to be. I'm going to continue moving and exploring. Okay, we'll make our die roll. We rolled a 7. Okay, so we're going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Find a path, take another turn with 2 movement points. Okay, that's great. 7 is the Tyrannosaurus. He is currently at the Tyrannosaurus lair, so we're going to make a roll for him for direction and distance. His direction will be 6. It's going to be moving in northwest direction, and his distance is 6 spaces, so he's going to continue to try to move that way. He can't, he'll bend to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that's his movement. Now we get to find a path in the Solitaire rules, allows us to take a free turn without having to deduct a turn played. So this one would have deducted turn 22, and now we're able to take a free turn. And we'll do that right now. So we'll take another roll. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we should have 2 movement points. So we can move 2 spaces on the map. And I'm going to head to this unexplored site. 1, 2, and we'll see what's there. Nothing. Nothing here. Okay. And now we'll continue on with our free turn. Okay, we rolled a 3. So we'll move 1, 2, 3. That's an event with 6 movement points. The 3 is the Dimetrodon, has a strength of 3. The Dimetrodon is located right here. We'll roll for his direction. Direction 3, that'll be this way, and his distance is 3. So he's going to keep bearing to the right. 1, 2, and 3. He joins the Triceratops there. Okay, now we have a total of 6 movement points, but we have to do an event draw first. Here is our event draw. Another red card. 11. A member of your party wanders off hunting for rumored jewels. Lose an experience card of your choice, or return to camp and lose a turn. Play immediately. Well, I think we'll lose an experience card. I'll get rid of this 1-point experience card. And that will conclude the event. And now we have a total of 6 movement points. And I want to get to a space where there's less monsters near us. So I think we'll maybe try to head to this area. And we'll move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and see what's in this location. Nothing here. Okay, so that is nothing in that spot. And that completes our free turn. And now we'll take our normal turn. Here is the roll. We rolled Snake Eyes, that's 2, so we'll advance 2 spaces on the board. Find a tool with 4 movement points. The Iguanodon appears, strength of 2, speed 8. Okay, he will appear at the watering place. Now he's going to try to move. Okay, he'll roll for direction. Direction 2, that's going to be east, and a distance of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Okay. All right, so now we're going to find a tool. We get to draw the tool from top tool from the deck. It's a canoe. Okay, the canoe can only be used to do this Central Lake adventure. You have to have the canoe to do that. Okay, so that is, we've got a canoe added to our total. Now we have 4 movement points. And I think we'll try to move maybe to this space here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Head there. Let's see what that is. That is nothing here. Okay. All right, that completes that turn. That is turn 23. We'll move on to turn 24 now. Okay, here's our roll. We rolled a 7. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Find a path. We get to take a free turn, and we have a movement of 3. Tyrannosaurus is activated, and he is going to roll for direction and distance. He's sitting very near us, so hopefully we don't get a direction that he'll come to us. He rolled a 1, and that's going to be this direction, northeast, and his distance will be 6. So he's going to continue to keep bearing to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He can't hit the camp, so he'll have to bend around that, and that would be there. Okay. All right, now we have a total of 3 movement points with a path. So I think what we'll do is we'll use those movement points to head here, check that location out. Nothing there. All right, and then we will take our free move, make a roll. It's a 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's an event with 6 movement points. And the Tyrannosaurus will move again. Okay, he's currently here. His direction is 2. It's going to be due east at a distance of 6 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. He hits the camp. 5 and 6. Okay, that's where he goes. And now we have to draw an event card. And these haven't been too kind to us. That one is capture Missosaurus and score 2 victory points if you have a fish tank in which to keep the creature. Play at your option, but only when ending your turn at the lakeshore or central lake. Okay, we do have a fish tank, so if we needed to get any additional victory points, that would be an easy way for us to get those. So we'll save that card. And now we have 6 movement points. And I think I'm going to move 1, 2, 3, 4 to that spot and see what we find there. Nothing here. Okay, that completes that turn, and now we are on turn 25 coming up. Okay, so we've got another 15 turns left before the volcano erupts. Okay, here's our roll. We rolled a 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Find a path. That's great. Okay. 9 is the Stegosaurus. That is near the lake here, and we'll see what his direction and distance are. Direction 3, that's going to be southeast at a distance of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's where he's going to go. He can't go into the camp. Okay, and now we get a 3 movement point allowance. And I think we'll move 1, 2, 3. We'll check out that spot. Nothing here. Okay, and now we'll take our free turn. Okay, we're going to take our free turn, and I have foolishly forgotten about the rope that we found. That allows us to build a rope bridge across the pinnacle to escape. So if we can run the pinnacle adventure and get to the frame that allows us to escape, we have the rope to do that. So that's what we're going to concentrate on right now. All right, we'll take our free turn. Here's our roll. We rolled an 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Find a path, take another turn, has 2 movement point allowance. Okay, the 8 is the Apatosaurus is activated. Okay, he is currently at the Apatosaurus swamp. Okay, we'll see where he's going to move to. His direction is 5. That's going to be due west, and the distance is 6 spaces. So he'll move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now we have an overland movement of 2. So we're going to head towards the pinnacle, 1 and 2. Okay. Now we're going to take our free turn, and we'll make the roll. We rolled a 5. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Find a tool with a 4 movement point allowance. The 5 is the Elasmosaurus. He's in the lake. And we'll roll for his direction. Direction is 5. That's going to be west, and his distance is 1. He can't move there, so he'll bend to the right. He goes there. All right, we're going to find a tool. That tool is a specimen cage. Okay, we'll add that to our total. And now we have a total of 4 movement points. We're going to move to the pinnacle. Now that we're at the pinnacle, we're going to undertake that pinnacle adventure and see if we can win the game. Now, examining the landmark table, the pinnacle is the lariat gives us 2 experience cards. Now, we don't have the lariat, so we're just going to undertake that with our existing cards that we already have. Okay, we don't have the lariats. We won't gain any additional experience cards. We do have 2 cards that we had from previous, and that is a 2 and a 6. So we'll keep those out. And now we can undertake our pinnacle adventure. If we can get to a complete adventure, here, complete adventure, escape if you have rope or event card 21 and 25 victory points. So that's what we want to get, is to try to get to space 14 on this. All right, we have a 2 and a 6. A 2 would be Spada Magnura, score a victory point. 6 would be Trouble Afoot, battle Stegosaurus. All right, I think we'll do the 2. That'll move us to frame 2. Spada Magnura, scoring a victory point. That gets us a total of 26 now. And then from there, we will play our 6 card. That'll move us to frame 8. Zambo still waits for us. Draw an experience card. Okay, so we'll play that card, draw an experience card. That's card number 6. We got a 6 on that. We can play that right away and we'll win. 6 plus 8 is 14. We get to space 14 on the frame 14. Build and cross rope bridge to pinnacle. Complete adventure, escape if you have the rope. All right, and we do have a rope. That is here. And we've successfully completed the game and we win. Well, that was a really enjoyable playthrough. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for joining me for this playthrough of Dinosaurs of the Lost World. And I hope you'll join me again in the future at the Solo Gamers Club. Thanks for watching. Have a good evening.